Well, Worlds 2020 is kicking off in just a week, and there's been a lot of discussion about North America ahead of it. So for this week's episode of Run It, we asked Tim, the founder of Oracle's Elixir, to break down how our region compares to the other regions at Worlds.
It's a widely held opinion that LCS teams play a slower, more controlled style of League of Legends than the other major pro regions, and that this style is going to get exploited at the World Championships. Whether or not it's exploitable is a more nuanced conversation, but the common opinions, we can say statistically, are not only accurate, they're actually somewhat understated. When you look at average game lengths and combined kills per minute for all of the regions that are sending teams to Worlds, the LCS very clearly sticks out with the longest games and the second lowest CKPMs. And it's not a question of lower ranked teams dragging those numbers down. All three of the NA representatives at Worlds sit very firmly in the bottom right of that chart. The pacing differences really start in the early game. First Blood happens a lot later in the LCS than it does in the other major regions on average, and there are fewer kills all throughout the different stages of the game. The game's first tower falls around the same time in the LCS as it does in the LCK, but a lot later than in China or Europe. So are North American teams just not good enough to play a faster style? I don't think so, or at least I don't think that's the primary reason. After all, for years, the South Korean teams dominated the world with a slower style of play that was heavily built around vision control and superior rotations. But the game has changed over time, and even the Korean teams now play a faster game with a lot more kills. North America hasn't shifted as much as South Korea, and I think that's pretty intentional. Beyond the pace of play, the real big difference you get between the LCS and the other regions is which side of the map they prefer to play through. And you can really see that by comparing how they prioritize the early game neutral objectives. Compared to the other major regions, the LCS is a lot more likely to play for a strong bottom side of the map, which gains early control of the first dragon, but is slow to take the game's first Rift Herald. As a league, the LCS struggles with their Rift Herald setups, often investing full bot side rotations and spending a ton of tempo that can be punishable on the rest of the map. It's a lot more efficient to set up Rift Arrow control with synchronized pushes in the top and mid lanes, and maybe a support roam to cover it. But the LCS only has a few top lane players who are really comfortable in a strong side role, and they're mostly on weaker teams overall. So the entire league's perspective has been skewed away from strong topside play towards strong bottom sides. That's a big reason why Shen has seen a lot more draft priority in the LCS than in the other leagues, with a 42% pick ban rate, while Renekton has been really underplayed. The only real high-pressure laner in the LCS's top 5 top lane picks was Volibear, and he was actually played a lot more in the jungle than he was in the top lane, so he kinda doesn't count. Overall, the LCS picks its top laners a lot earlier in the draft than the other regions, not building its compositions around them. And it picks its supports later, which is part of their intention of controlling the bot side of the map and playing through dragon control. At Worlds, it's going to be really interesting to see how the strong bot side play of FlyQuest and Team Liquid in particular interacts with the other teams, and whether TSM can execute a strong top side well enough to stack up against teams that have been playing that way all year long. If the LCS does get run over at Worlds, I don't think it'll be as simple as them not being able to play fast enough. It's going to be a lot more about their objective prioritization and their top lane champion pools.
Our thanks to Tim. Be sure to check out oracleselixir.com for more LOL esports statistics. It is a very strange year in a lot of different ways. I look outside and the sky is just a different color. And so that's why it's been really, really helpful, really nice, in fact, to have the support of all of you. This is actually, I sometimes meme in these things, but I'm just going to say, like, I really miss going out to LCS studios, going out to events, meeting all you guys, doing live hotline leagues, etc. And so the fact that you guys have been so helpful in supporting me and saying nice things in the comments, subscribing, etc. is really cool. And again, thank you to Alienware, because they have also been really supportive in this time. And it's made like a tough year nicer. So thank you to Alienware. There's a link in the description below if you want to check out their stuff and use Travis 10 off Q3 to save on your order.